Welcome to Jerkums. Are you also curious about the world after death? In fact, from ancient times to the present, people's curiosity and exploration regarding death and the afterlife have never ceased. In modern society, there are even some individuals who choose to engage in extreme sports or adventurous activities to experience the edge of death. While biological death is generally defined by the cessation of heartbeat, breathing, and brain death as identifying markers. However, there are some people who claim to hover on the edge of biological death and experience seeing strange things, even when their heart stops beating, and loss of consciousness in the brain. And that is the topic we are going to explore today. Near-death experiences. Despite only about 1/10 of cardiac arrest patients remember their near-death experiences after being resuscitated, but based on 9 prospective studies conducted in 4 different countries, the average occurrence rate of near-death experiences was found to be around 17%. This indicates that near-death experiences are relatively common phenomenon in the recovery process after cardiac arrest. Case 1. A physician named Fred Schoonmaker, who was at one time the chief of cardiology at St. Luke's Hospital in Denver, Colorado. Schoonmaker claimed that one of his patients had a near-death experience. This patient was congenitally blind. She experienced a sudden deterioration in her condition and lost consciousness completely. Fortunately, with the doctor's urgent resuscitation efforts, she was successfully revived. Afterward, she told the doctor that during the near-death experience, she had an out-of-body experience. She felt her soul and consciousness leaving her body and floating near the ceiling. She could even see 14 people in the room, but all the scenes appeared colorless, like a black and white television. According to Schoonmaker, she was able to describe exactly what happened in the operating room as if she was actually seeing it. This case has been documented in the book On the Other Side of Life, Exploring the Phenomenon of the Near-Death Experience, by the head of the law library at the University of Geneva, Evelyn Elsesser Vallarino. Case 2. In December 2001, the Dutch cardiologist Tim van Lommel published in the renowned British medical journal The Lancet about his research into near-death experiences. In his research, he recorded a report from a nurse in the coronary care unit about a veritable out-of-body experience of a resuscitated patient. This patient had a heart condition, collapse in a meadow, and was found by passers-by. Before being taken to the hospital, upon admission, he received artificial respiration, chest compressions, and defibrillation as part of resuscitation efforts. During the process of preparing to intubate him, the nurse discovered that he had dentures in his mouth, which she removed and placed on a nearby cart. After approximately an hour and a half of CPR, the patient's heart rhythm and blood pressure were restored, but he remained in a comatose state. Over a week later, the nurse encountered the patient again, who had returned to the coronary care unit. To her surprise, the patient immediately recognized her and mentioned that she knew where his dentures were. He provided a detailed description of how she had removed his dentures and placed them on a cart with bottles and a sliding drawer. The patient revealed that during this experience, he was afraid that the CPR would stop and he would die. Although his efforts were useless, he made desperate attempts to communicate that he was still alive and that CPR should continue. This experience deeply affected the patient and he expressed that he was no longer afraid of death. 4 weeks later, the patient left the hospital in a healthy condition. This case has indeed shocked the medical community, making it one of the significant cases in recent years in the discussion of near-death experiences. The similarities of the near-death experiences. In fact, the term near-death experience was popularized by the work of psychiatrist Raymond Moody as an umbrella term for the different elements such as out-of-body experiences, the panoramic life review, the light, the tunnel, or the border. In his 1975 book Life After Life, Moody investigates about 150 cases of near-death experiences. He was amazed to find that these cases had significant similarities and proceeded to summarize these experiences. Generally, individuals who undergo near-death experiences often feel their physiological decline reaching its limit during the death experience, and those in the resuscitation room can hear a voice declaring their death to aware their own death. This sense of death is filled with peace and harmony. They also perceive themselves rapidly passing through a narrow and dark tunnel. Then, they would hear unsettling noise, resembling the sound of bells or buzzing, serving as a guiding signal. Suddenly, the near-death experiencers would start to perceive that they have left their physical bodies and find themselves in a light, ethereal state resembling a sphere or other cloud-like form. They would float about 2.5 feet above their own physical shell, observing their body and everything around them from the perspective of an onlooker. Moreover, any previous pain or discomfort would completely vanish. Some near-death experiencers would indeed see their deceased loved ones reappear. Alongside them, there would be a warm and loving light present. These deceased loved ones do not have physical bodies, but exist in a form similar to a sphere or a cloud-like entity, just like the near-death experiencers themselves. In that realm, there is no language. Communication and distinction between individuals are based on thought or consciousness. Subsequent Consequently, the light will silently ask the near-death experiencers to evaluate their lives. Afterward, the most significant moments of their lives will begin to flash one by one at an astonishing speed, but each image will be incredibly real. During the conversation with the light, they will be informed that they have not yet completed the two most important tasks in their life. They will then be astonished to discover that their consciousness has returned to their physical body. However, the experiences of individuals who have attempted suicide during a near-death experience are markedly different from others. They will arrive at an extremely dreadful place and experience heavy punishment, feeling a sense of misfortune, and so on. A man who experienced the death of his wife and chose suicide shared his experience with Moody. He originally hoped to be reunited with his wife after death, but instead, he ended up in a very dreadful place. In that place, he realized that he had made a mistake and was being punished. He felt a sense of being imprisoned and unable to leave that place forever. Those who awaken from such experiences reach a consensus that suicide is a violation of the rules. They come to understand that attempting to prematurely escape their life's purpose will result in severe punishment. Out-of-body experience in near-death experiences. The most striking aspect of the near-death experience is the phenomenon of out-of-body experiences, which cannot be explained by current knowledge in neurophysiology. This phenomenon has sparked a long-standing debate about the existence of the soul. In 1907, in an attempt to explore evidence of the soul's existence, Duncan McDougall, a physician from Haverhill, Massachusetts, conducted an interesting research study and published in the American Medical Journal. He performed weight measurements on patients at the moment of their death and found that the weight would decrease by approximately 21 grams. Some people considered this experiment as evidence for the existence of the soul. However, the conclusions of this experiment were not widely accepted by the scientific community due to various methodological issues. In 1966, a research team composed of 7 authoritative scientists, psychologists, and physicians conducted a more precise experiment. They tracked and tested 100 terminally ill individuals and found that at the moment of death, an unknown substance was released from the body, resulting in a weight reduction of approximately 35 grams. Subsequent studies also employed specialized dye cloths, bioluminescence imaging cameras, along with other advanced technological devices. These studies revealed that at the moment of death, a blurry white object would detach from the body. This phenomenon is widely considered to be highly likely the manifestation of what we refer to as the soul. If we assume that the soul truly exists, it is possible to speculate that the human brain serves as an information receiver and converter, rather than the sole storage unit for human memories. When a person is in a near-death state, the connection between the soul and the brain is activated, allowing the brain to recount the experiences of the soul. This perspective can also explain why some near-death experience individuals can remember many scenes and events, even when their brains are seemingly non-functional. This theory has its theoretical basis. For example, the Los Alamos National Laboratory in the United States proposed that human thoughts and behaviors are released as a form of energy that does not disappear, but is stored somewhere in the universe. Additionally, Barry Schwartz, an American psychologist, has expressed that the soul is an important factor in human existence. He believes that the soul can provide insight into our ways of thinking and our relationship with the world, suggesting that you are not just your brain, but something beyond it. In other words, you are not determined solely by your brain. You can shape your brain state through your actions. It is almost as if you are an external force that can mold and form your own neural patterns. This phenomenon is known as neuroplasticity, and it suggests that our brain's neural patterns are malleable. Schwartz sees this as a way to indicate that we have the ability to change our brain state and become masters of ourselves. However, this theory still falls short in providing a complete explanation for the phenomenon of out-of-body experiences during the NDE, and there are still many unresolved mysteries surrounding it. The brain's activity during near-death experiences. During near-death experiences, many patients are in a state of clinical death, which refers to the cessation of heartbeat and breathing, including the potential absence of brainwave activity. In this state, the entire nervous system has lost any physiological or pathological electrical impulses. According to the current scientific understanding, human consciousness is generated and operated by the physiological electrical activity of the brain and nervous system. Therefore, when patients are in a state of clinical death, they cannot have consciousness independent of the body or any form of cognitive or mental activity described in the near-death experiences. However, with advancements in technology, there have been studies indicating that brain activity does not necessarily disappear at the end of life, but may actually increase. For instance, a study of rats conducted in 2013 found that the rodents' brains produced surges of gamma waves for 30 seconds after their heart stopped. Gamma waves are fast brain waves associated with attention, working memory, and long-term memory, suggesting that the rats may have consciousness during this period. Another study in 2022, measuring brain activity in individuals who died of a heart attack, also detected gamma wave activity in the brain after cardiac arrest. Furthermore, a recent study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences reported that 2 out of 4 terminally ill patients showed a significant increase in brain activity resembling consciousness after being disconnected from life support and experiencing cardiac arrest. While scientists are not yet certain about the reasons behind near-death experiences, but these mysterious phenomena challenge the conventional understanding that the brain cannot function properly during clinical death. Some scholars also argue that near-death experiences are merely abnormal mechanisms initiated by the brain during clinical death, resulting in hallucinations. However, hallucinations typically generate experiences of fear and confusion, whereas near-death experiences are often described as calm and blissful. Some individuals who have had near-death experiences even report vividly seeing scenes they have never witnessed before, such as in the case of the blind patient mentioned earlier, who could clearly see the process of his own surgery during the near-death state. In conclusion, near-death experiences are a fascinating and intriguing field that can provide deeper insights into the human body and mind. They serve as powerful catalysts for personal growth, compelling individuals to reevaluate their lives and contemplate the meaning of existence. That's why many people who have had near-death experiences become more compassionate and shift their focus from material pursuits to nurturing love and building meaningful relationships with others. Regardless of whether you have had a near-death experience or not, it is important for all of us to cherish our lives, make the most of every moment, and seek to derive greater strength and meaning from them. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the notification so that you won't miss any news. See you again in next video. Bye.